Hey everybody, this is another video we're doing here. And this video we're going to talk about pre-sale and also how do you tell the quality of construction here? Because a lot of people walk into a condo and it looks great, but what details? So in this video we're going to talk to a developer, we're going to talk to a builder and try to put all this information in there so you can make really good decisions. So let's get started on this video. We are inside of a project that Sebastian has almost finished. This is the showroom. And if you've seen our other videos, this is Sebastian. He's a realtor here in the Riviera Maya. And he's also on our list of recommended realtors because he's really knowledgeable of the area, as you will see. And not only are you a realtor, he puts his money where his mouth is. He's an investor and now a developer. And this is his first development here in Tulum. So we want to ask you some questions, Sebastian. We know when people are looking to buy in the Riviera Maya, they need a really good realtor because a lot of sales are pre-sale. And about how many sales or what percentage do you think are pre-sale in the Riviera Maya in general?
In this market, I would say around 60 to 70% of active construction licenses are pre-construction projects.
So when there's pre-sale, that means it's not even built yet. You're buying something just based on a drawing. So that's really something very different in the Riviera Maya. So why do you need a really good real estate agent when you're buying pre-sale?
So first of all, buying pre-sale obviously will have a lot of pros, but also some risks. First is getting the best price, the best unit in the best project, but it also comes with the risk that you maybe have uncertainty. So first thing to minimize the risks would be getting a really good real estate agent. First off, my suggestion would be getting a buyer's representative, someone that represents you alone and that has access to the entire market. He can give you an unbiased opinion because he can sell whatever. And at the end of the day, all the developers pay almost the same commissions. And our best interest as buyer representatives is to have repetitive clients that not only invest once, but also will refer friends and family or will invest a second or third time with the money that we make them in this investment.
And of course, if you want to know more about selecting a realtor, we do have a whole article because we've talked about this before. It's how to get off with the right foot with a realtor in the Riviera Maya. So we have a lot of details there. Of course, all right, you have a good realtor. What services can they offer you or what things can they look out for to minimize those risks?
First, just check that they have a valid license. If they work for a brokerage firm, make sure the brokerage firm also has a valid license. We have this saying in Mexico that says, Pueblo chico, infierno grande. It means small town, big hell. So pretty much everyone knows everyone in the Riviera Maya. It's a small town still. Tulum is a small town. So we all know developers that have been here for 15, 20 years, and they continue building and developing new projects. And there's also the new kids on the block that they might be good, but they also might be cutting corners or may launch a project without permits or without proper funding. They don't have a bridge loan. So what we do to screen out the projects is first off, we get into who's the developer. What is the track record of the developer? If they've already built other properties, we go see those properties and see what kind of quality finishes, how long they took in the construction period. We also check who is the architect because the architect is whomever designs the project and you have to have really good design so that you don't have a lot of problems. And then the one that executes the design of the architect is the builder. So who's the general contractor? Is the builder the developer also, or is the developer hiring a builder to be able to build the entire project? So you have to check the track record of the architect, the developer, and the general contractor.
Now, of course, the average person cannot do all that. It is a lot of work. So that's why not all real estate agents are the same. There's some that just will show you a fancy place and say, okay, sign the papers and it's yours. And then there's others which you're describing, the process which you go through with your team of all the back checking because you don't list anything that is from a developer that is not reputable or you don't know, all those things, correct?
Correct. And we upload most of the listings that actually launched to the market because people want to see what's out there. But once they're actually asking for, there's like 300 active construction licenses in Tulum in the moment. but there's not 300 quality projects, not at all. Maybe there's like 60 that are really good quality products. It's like if you go buy a car, there's different segments, like are you looking for an SUV? Are you looking what type and model and price point you're looking at? So once you narrow it down, you're like, okay, if I'm looking for a pre-construction project and this is my price point, this is the location that I want to invest in, all your needs and wants will give us maybe 5, 6 projects that match all those needs and wants. And there might be a lot others, but they don't have that screening process that we do to make sure that we do the due diligence. We see that the developer has that track record, that the general contractor has good quality finishes, because unfortunately, we know who is cutting corners. We know who is maybe launching without permits, maybe is not fully funded, it doesn't have a bridge loan, right? So we're gonna tell you the risks, and at the end of the day, the investor is gonna decide if he is comfortable with that risk level and he's gonna pull the trigger. But we have to inform the buyer that these risks are associated. Like, this is a new developer. Maybe you can have the best deal of your life, and maybe he will develop a project that matches everything that he's selling, and the beautiful renderings with flamingos flying through the sky and sunsets are look exactly identical. But I've seen it in the 10 years that I've been working as a real estate agent here that that's not always the case. So to protect yourself, you need to know that. And to be able to know that, you need to work with someone that has been here for long enough to be able to know who is doing things right and who's cutting corners.
Another aspect is, we've talked about this in other videos, there's no MLS here. So basically things are pretty much standard by square foot and everything, but the market has gotten a lot more competitive. Things aren't as booming as they were in the past, so people want to sell stuff. So to cut costs, some developers are offering things that aren't as good of a product, and you'll have problems a year, 2 years. And that's something we want to cover in this video, because we're going to talk to a builder next and give you some really great tips about what things to look for. We're here with Jordi. He's a builder here in the Riviera Maya. How long have you been building in general?
I've been 14 years in building.
And how long in the Riviera Maya?
8 of those.
Okay, so you have a lot of experience. If someone comes into a condo and they're doing a walkthrough of a finished unit or a showroom, what are some things people should look for to know whether it's good quality or not?
So I would go for details like countertops, I would go for carpentry and so on. But I would also take a good look like at the faucet that you're receiving and everything, electrical stuff. I would go through like the brands of the ACs that you're getting, the brand of the water heater, the water pumps. Those are the things that I would look into. Maybe the electrical panel, exactly. Just little like qualities in the woodwork, the carpentry, the kitchen, and I would dig a little into the brands of all the electrical stuff that I'm getting, and the hydraulics, like maybe towel hangers and everything. Those are the ones that you can get a really cheap brand or better quality stuff. ACs also very important.
Another great tip that you can do when you're inspecting perhaps a model unit or a finished unit is look at the electrical panel. It's a great way to see behind the scenes how the work was done. You can take off the faceplate, don't touch anything, but take a picture and just examine it. Does it have organized wires? Does it have these wire nuts for the connectors? In this example, they actually use these ties to make it even more organized. This is a great way to check to see the detail of the work and to see if it is going to function, because the wire connectors are much better than the black tape, which loses its stickiness in the heat and humidity here, and you'll have problems a couple years down the road. You also want to check to make sure it's labeled, has all the circuits on it, because attention to detail is what you're looking for. There's some developers that cut corners. So what are some things that developers do or builders do to cut corners that other developers that are good will not cut and give you a good quality product?
We need like a water treatment system, so we'll do this through the water treatment system. They usually cut corners. You can either have none or a smaller one that doesn't satisfy the needs.
So that's for your wastewater?
No, that's for the water
Clean water coming in?
Clean
Okay.
water coming in. For the wastewater as well, if you are in Aldea Sama, you have a water system outside, but if you're in like in La Veleta or Región 8 or or 15, you don't get that. So you need a water treatment for after like sewage.
So that's here in Tulum. Of course,
That's in Tulum.
Playa has their own water system.
Yeah, Playa is a different story. This is only specifically in Tulum. Most of Playa has a water system that you can just have drainage, but in Tulum we have some parts that are not fully developed yet. So if you get a bad pump, not enough water pressure, that would be like a way to cut costs. And brands, you can get really, really cheap for faucets on Amazon or whatever, and I would go for higher quality brands that are easy to inspect, easy to know how much they cost, and to know if you're getting what you're paying for them.
And that's easy for people to go in Mexico to some of the plumbing supply stores just to see the prices, the quality. You can go to Home Depot if that's easy to go to, and there's a range. There's better than Home Depot stores. There's worse than Home Depot stores.
Yeah,
it's a whole range.
If you go to Home Depot, you know you're getting at least like decent value for your money.
Something.
Like if you go to Amazon, you can get whatever you want. Like there's very cheap stuff all around. So I would take a picture of everything, like the names of the brands, because sometimes you don't know, like AC units, you have no idea. So take a picture of the brand and see in your contract if that's the same brand or similar price to the one that you were offered. If there's a difference there in the prices, that means that they are cutting some corners, and those are the first red flags that I would look into. Obviously the windows, obviously like everything from the carpentry, but that's easier to see. The other stuff is very tough for final customer, for a buyer, to know if they're getting their money's worth.
Now, we've talked about pre-sale a little bit. What are some of the benefits or disadvantages of buying pre-sale?
So top benefits is getting the best price, the best unit in the market, and with the best terms, with the best. Some say that they offer financing, but it's not real financing. It's just paying throughout the construction, right? So some do like maybe 30% down, then 40% during construction, and then 30% upon getting delivery, right? Or if you do a higher down payment, then you get a higher discount, right? So obviously getting that really good price, entering at a family and friend stage where maybe there's only blueprints and there's an empty lot of land, that's where the risk is as high. However, it will also be the stage where most likely you will have the highest rewards. Okay, but you need to make sure the risks are, is that developer going to start construction? When are they going to start construction? Do they have the permits? Have they already built other projects like this? So we will take care of doing all of that due diligence, and we will also connect you with some of the real estate law firms that we work with to make sure that the promissory agreement, which is basically the rules of the game, are equally balanced. If they are delayed in a project, what are going to be the penalties that the developer will have to pay? What are the warranties in that project, right? Making sure that everything is exactly as it will be delivered on the annex of the promissory agreement. That's where all the quality finishes are described. And some of the developers, what they do is that they're like, okay, I'm gonna install maybe Moen faucets or maybe Train air conditioning, like good brands, and then they set the model. And since you don't know if they're going to continue building or supplying with that product, what they do is they add a legend or a comment that says or similar, and or that similar opens the door that maybe they can add some other qualities. So if they already have a showroom and you can see, feel, touch what you're gonna get, obviously risk is lower. Our job as real estate agents is to make sure that we check what are the quality finishes and inspect the property with you and an inspector to make sure that you are getting what you paid for.
And of course, windows, everybody has big windows in Playa, Riviera Maya. So what are some tips for quality? Like what do you look for when you install windows into buildings?
Well, first of all, is the sealant all around, and second of all, how clean it is. If you're getting PVC, if you're getting aluminum, what type of aluminum is. Don't settle on, oh, it's Spanish or it's European, because there's a lot of ranges in European or Spanish types of windows. So ask for the number of series and just Google that, or ask them an American or a Mexican provider if those are the cheaper brand, the cheaper numbers, or more of the quality expensive ones. PVC, for example, it's a very good quality. If you're getting PVC, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're getting good stuff. And afterwards, just open them. See if it opens and closes properly. When you reclose it, see if the connection is nice. All of that helps.
Maybe listen for sound, because that's important as well.
It's important, yeah. And that's what type of glass you're getting, because there are cheaper glasses and more expensive glasses, not only the windows.
And we only have hurricanes here as a natural disaster. That's the only thing we worry about. So what things in buildings are built for hurricanes?
So the structures of the buildings in Mexico are usually concrete and brick, which is very good for hurricanes. The only major damage is water coming in, which there is very little to do. You have to just naturally pull the water out and protect your windows. And there are several ways to protect your windows. The most expensive one is to put higher quality glasses, which most developers won't do because it's very cost ineffective.
And there are regulations, building inspections here, but is that enforced 100%?
So yeah, if you're buying in Cancun, if you're buying in Playa, that's much more enforced. In Tulum, sadly, we don't get that as enforced. You know, Tulum is growing exponentially fast. So the government hasn't quite gotten there. So yeah, we do get some regulations, but most of it we have to look out for ourselves.
And that's why a really good real estate agent and builder are really good, because it's a little self-regulated and you want to have all of those really good quality construction methods put in place for your place. And another thing with pre-sale is the big iffy thing is if it's going to be finished on time. So what are the penalties or what are the protections for someone buying pre-sale if they buy and it's not delivered on time?
Right. So there are grace periods, and obviously there's force majeure. So if we get a hurricane or there's something like outside of the control, those grace periods might be a little longer. However, most agreements have around 90 days, so 3 months of grace period. There are some developers that have 6 months of grace period. So that's why you need to have someone that knows promissory agreements and maybe a real estate law firm that revises that work for you. Aside from that, let's say that the penalties will vary, but you can decide to either terminate the agreement and get your money back plus a penalty, or you get a penalty every month that they're late. All of that has to be written down in the agreement.
Because that's something that comes up on Facebook all the time. People say, I bought this, I need a lawyer, I'm going after the developer, the builder, and we don't want that to happen to you. And so that's why we're doing this video, to talk about all the things you need to look at before if you're buying pre-sale. I will say that all my friends in Playa del Carmen and Tulum buy only pre-sale because it's the best deals. And then by the time the building is done, it's already gained $20,000 in value. And that's why they make so much money.
That's
so it's not a bad thing to buy pre-sale, but there are risks and rewards that come with it.
For sure.
What are some aspects of buildings that usually fail, or what are some of the things that people complain about the most?
Well, you certainly need maintenance for any house. Chukum lasts a little longer than paint. For example, if you paint a building, you might have to paint it every 2 years, more or less. Chukum might help for 5 to 8 years for it to start, which is a very common finish that we do on walls. Other than that, finishes are pretty regular. I would watch out with what kind of finish they're putting on floors and what kind of finish they're putting on the pools, because those two usually are more easy to fail. So if you get, for example, chukum on the floor, scratch it, because when you buy something, you will drag maybe a chair or maybe your luggage or whatever, and you don't want it to be scratched in a couple of years. Don't be afraid to come in with maybe a little spoon or something and scratch on the surface of the floor or something. Those are stuff that must work for your building. I mean, those are type of things that I would do if I was buying something like that.
And as far as a new unit, there's usually a warranty for a year.
Yeah.
And that basically covers what?
Almost everything. So 1 year you must get for almost everything. What you need to do for the warranty to keep on going is just give regular maintenance. So you need to give maintenance to your AC, to your pumps, and so on. If there's no invoice or payment that proves that you have done this maintenance, then some contractors, some builders, some developers might say like, yeah, that no longer covers it. But flooring, kitchens, drawers, all of that should be at least 1 year guaranteed. There are some constructors that do 2, 3, or even 5 years.
And do you give a maintenance guide to people that buy your units?
Always, we always do. It's about a 5-page long booklet. That's maintenance.
But not all builders do that.
I don't think there's any other builder that does that.
So that's a really important tip. If you know the maintenance, what you need to do, like cleaning out your air conditioning and everything, that's how you keep your warranty alive for your builder, like the first year. So that's a cool tip. Very good. Well, it's excellent talking to you to know how buildings are built here, the construction, the quality of them, what to look for, so that, you know, as our readers, our followers, when you're looking for a place, you can have a little more confidence, of course, dealing with a great real estate agent and dealing with a good builder. We hope this video has been educational for you and gives you a little more confidence in buying pre-sale. Pre-sale is a majority of the sales here in the Riviera Maya, so you really need to be prepared before you start the process. You need to have a great realtor. You need to have an idea of what to look for in the construction and to know all the background between the builders and the developer and the architect and everything else that goes into it. So we hope this video has prepared you a little bit more for the process. If you do want to work with Sebastian, who is a recommended realtor on our website, we'll put his contact information for him and his team in our article right below in the description of this video. Also the pinned comment, it'll be there. So you can check it out if you do want to contact him, because he is very knowledgeable. And that is a reason we have recommended realtors on our website, because it is a complex process and it is a little different here in Mexico to buy new properties, especially pre-sale. If you decide to invest here in the Riviera Maya, we hope you have a very smooth process and you use all of our tips so you can look at the property to inspect it to see if it is quality construction. And we hope you get to work with a really good realtor, because that's really a good key in making the whole process a success. And who knows, we might be future neighbors, future friends, or bar buddies. So we look forward to seeing you here in the Riviera Maya. And stay tuned to our other videos. We're constantly bringing you new videos about how the market is in Tulum, Bacalar, Playa del Carmen, and different aspects of different neighborhoods and areas that are good or perhaps not so good to buy in. So stay tuned and we'll see you online.